loved the names, loved the guys, and I love the obsession. That's my thing. Fated mates always get me. It's what I loved. I love how she starts off very timid and very human.
Yes.
You can say timid, but I mean, she was a human and she's no longer one, right? I love how she, over the book, becomes a badass. The family dynamics are interesting, and I can't wait to find out
Oh, Kane's dad. Come on now. I just want
all the things. Oh,
more.
welcome to Morally Gray Babes. We're your hosts, Jen and Amber, two unapologetic book addicts diving deep into the steamiest reads, hottest book boyfriends, and those spicy moments that make you blush.
Amber here, and we're not just here to talk plot twists and character arcs. We're breaking down everything from our favorite quotes to the spice levels that really bring the heat.
Expect a lot of laughs, a little cussing, and some seriously hot takes. Whether we're gushing over fictional men or dishing out the truth on what books deserve the hype, nothing is off limits.
So buckle up, Buttercup, and get ready for real, raw, and totally unfiltered book talk. Because we're the book besties you didn't know you needed.
Hi, Amber.
Hey, Jen. The Morally Great Babes are here, and we're doing another book review. This one is Blood and Thorns by Eve Newton. It's book one in the series Shadows Descent trilogy. As of the release of this podcast, the third and final book is not released as of yet. It's due to be released December 31st, 2024.
Which is super freaking irritating.
Next time I pick a trilogy, I will make sure all the books are out for Jen.
I mean, I'm a girl who likes to read the trilogies in a row, but I'm going with the flow.
So this is a very low spice, slower burn paranormal romance book. It's set in England and written in British English.
I will say one thing. There is an author's note that says this is book one of three. You will come away with more questions than answers. And that is the entire point of a trilogy, which just pissed me off. So I'm just going to put it out there.
Oh, it's too much.
And by the way, no dedication, which we don't like books that have no dedications.
I know.
Right.
It was a little heartbreaking,
Yeah.
especially it's a trilogy. So the blurb says, I never wanted to be a vampire, but here I am, freshly turned and on the run from the monster who made me. Mist Hollow Academy is supposed to be my sanctuary, a place where I can learn to control my powers. Instead, it's become a battleground of desire and danger. Three guys have caught my eye. They're each intoxicating in their own way, and I'm drawn to them. Cain, the ice demon with his arctic touch and fiery passion. Thorn, the dark fae nobility who sees right through my defenses. Flint, the dragon shifter savior who makes my undead heart race. There's no time for romance when students start turning up dead, drained of blood. The accusations fly and all eyes turn to the new vampire on campus. To clear my name and protect the home, the sanctuary I desperately need, I'll have to embrace the very nature I've been fighting against, while I can feel my sire's presence growing stronger. He's coming for me, and I'm running out of time. Welcome to my descent into the shadows where the nights are dark, the stakes are high, and the hunger runs deep. I thought that was cute, the last
Was
sentence,
perfect.
when it's like, the stakes are high, and I'm like, she's a vampire. She's
I
like,
know.
um, so I thought that was really well done, the last sentence. So this is, like we said, a very low spice, slower burn. Is the triggers or non-consent to turning, compulsion, mild violence, discussion of death, and mild gore. So there we go. If any of those things are triggering to you, your mental health is important. So please do not listen to this podcast and choose another book. This podcast episode, I should say. Don't listen.
I will forget our podcast.
Drop it. Just joking. Just maybe not this episode. But I mean, we're just going to be talking about the book, what we loved, some things that I question, because one of the things I just have lots of questions when I read, like, how do they think about this? Like, what is happening here? Where are the Easter eggs? Like, I just want to know all the things. We also dive into quotes, spice, and our ratings. So take it away, Jen.
Well, let's start with the things that we loved
Okay.
first. I loved the devotion and protectiveness of the 3 guys, Flint, Kane, and Thorn. Loved the names, loved the guys, and I loved the obsession, that's my thing. Fated mates always get me, it's what I loved. I love how she starts off very timid and very human.
Yes.
You can say timid, but I mean, she was a human and she's no longer one, right? I love how she, over the book, becomes a badass. The family dynamics are interesting, and I can't wait to find out
Oh, Kane's dad. Come on now. I just want
all the things. Oh,
we'll
mm,
keep going, keep going. I'll
I
say
would go for the older man in that situation. Uh, they hint so throughout the book, the way that the book is set up, she only knows that she's human and she was turned. But all signs throughout the book point to her being something
bigger.
else, right? Yes, bigger, I would say. They hint at it throughout the book in little subtle ways, and of course on the cliffhanger, which made me mad because we couldn't. It was just, yeah, not good. And at the end, engages me. No, it both enrages me and also has me hooked. Like I want to read every single book.
So
Like
you're enraged and engaged.
I was enraged, engaged, and hooked.
Good job.
I
Well,
think I read this almost in a day and a half. It was a
you were really
pretty
quick. And so I chose this book because I know that Jen loves vampires.
I do.
I know you do. And
I
that's
just
why I was
do.
like, Jen needs a win. So, like, I'm a very much a mood reader. So I was like, oh, I don't know exactly what I want. I'll just choose from Jen's, I know genres that she loves, which is vampires. And then
And then there's times when she's like, "I need
I
this."
need this. Yes, I
And
tell
we're
you all
like,
the time.
"Let's do it."
I need
Dark academia.
Oh my god. So that's what this was. And I was
Yes.
like, yes, this is all my favorite things as well because I love dark academia with fated maids. I love paranormal and fantastical creatures. I love a badass female character and I love men who are obsessed with her as like she navigates through trials. Like these are all things that I love and I was happy because
We'll be reading the other 2 books. Let's just put it that
I
way.
will read the next two books. I
Yes,
wasn't
perfect.
as hooked as you were
I was.
because she's like,
I was
"Let's read book 2." And I was like, "No, let's pause because book 3 comes out in like 2 months. So next month we'll read book 2 and we'll like stagger it." And I think you went like I think I felt like your daggers from like California
oh,
to me.
I
Like,
it was I read the first paragraph of that 2nd book, I'll just let you know.
oh, stop it.
Yeah.
So
Um,
red.
it was
Mm.
it was a book that grabbed me by the lapels and pulled me in for a big old kiss.
I
It was good.
I don't okay, so honest, the first couple of chapters were extremely hard for me to get
Yes,
into
I agree with
because
that.
it starts with Violet being hunted, then
All
turned.
internal dialogue, which is hard to read, I
And it was
think.
all italicized and it was the writing was different than the whole book, right? It was a
Totally
different
agree.
style. And I remember reaching out to you and I was like, "Hey, what chapter are you on?" Like, um, are you feeling the same way? Basically is what I wanted. And you're like, "Oh, I think I'm on chapter 7." And you're like, I'm like, "Oh," and I was only on chapter 1 at that point. I was so
Rereading it, trying to figure
oh, I was like, "How's it going?" I was like, How you liking it?" You're like, "Oh my god, I love it. It got so much better after the first couple of chapters." And I was like, "Okay, just stick with it." Like,
Did
okay.
it get better for you?
It did. No, once
Oh,
she
good.
got turned,
Mhm.
it was like it was all the things I wanted, right?
And
So
when she got to the education facility, that's when it really got good in my opinion.
and so basically it's about a young woman, she's 20 years old, she gets turned. Apparently her um
Against her will.
yeah, apparently the vampire who turned her, Nathaniel, keeps saying that she was owed him. The father kind of Rumpelstiltskin her, like said that he would give his first child to this vampire. So it was in the books for her to be turned, but she didn't know. And so he's kept her captive and kind of torturing her in some ways.
Totally.
And she manages to escape and get sanctuary into this academy where she's learning about all paranormal and fantastical creatures and more about how to be a vampire. So that's kind of like the whole gist of it, but you just have to get past like those first chapters where she turns. Like once she turns, it gets better, but that internal dialogue in the chapters was really hard for me to
Mhm.
get through it.
Toward the end, before we go over, what we grade it, I wanna talk about what you think is going on and what I think is going
So,
on because it's
yeah,
totally
I
different. I think
I have
that's
so
fun.
many questions though. Right? Like there's so many questions about this book. And so,
Okay, let's talk about frustrations then.
well, I wouldn't say it's frustration. It's just like, what's
Oh,
happening?
it was
Huh?
for
What?
me.
Like, no, I just like, what? Like, what is the
About
future
the
thing?
potions,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
that's next. Yes, that's what I was going to talk about. So I get so flustered when I think about things because I'm like, I don't understand. So
Why
this is
somebody
for
wouldn't
the
cover that.
the
Yeah.
podcast episode where we may give some spoilers. So heads up.
Mhm.
So Violet is being like, there is this bond between her and her sire, Nathaniel, the one who turned her without her consent. Okay, so she has this pull to him, and she has these professors who are like, hey, home slice, we're going to help you out and give you some potions to help reduce that pull, reduce that influence to your sire. And she was given the dose. She was given two like different types, right? One's like a
Very
physical.
specific on how to take it.
Yeah, and it's like there's two, there's a purple one or a blue one and a purple one or something. Like there's two different colors, and she could take one once a day. She takes the other one 4 times a day. Okay. She only takes them once, and that's it. And I'm like, it's like she simply forgot about them and stopped
Or
taking them completely, despite being continuously influenced and manipulated by her sire. I'm like, is nobody gonna bring up the potions again? Like, what the
I know. I was like, I don't know if the author wrote it to with us to sort of assume she's just taking it, but, like, it was not understood to me like that.
no.
Like, I didn't
I'm
think
just saying, if somebody had influence over me, I'd be having those, like, strapped, like, in a belt.
on a timer, like,
Well, it's like
reminding
in a
me.
belt, and I'd
Oh,
just
yeah.
be popping those like Jelly Bellies. Like, no.
What about wearing borrowed clothes and shoes that are too big for her
Dude,
the
stop.
whole book?
I told you this was so bothering me. Okay, so she gets there and she has no clothes, right? So she escapes and she's in this ensemble that is horrific and demoralizing. So she's in this ensemble and they're like, oh no, check the lost and found. And they give her some clothes from the lost and found. And she's also wearing like boots that are one size too big, right? Meanwhile, the other students can magically conjure.
Well, one of her guys, I
Yeah,
don't remember which one,
panties.
conjures underwear,
Yeah,
bras
he
and
gives her bras and
underwear.
panties, but does he give her any other pants
I'm
or
like,
sweaters? Like, she's
I
just
know.
got 1 or 2 like, how much clothes were in the lost and found, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then, like, so she has no wardrobe, and she has, like, I don't know, that I was like, "Can someone please just give this girl some clothes? Give her
Mhm.
some shoes that fit."
Make clothes for her. It's not hard. They all have magic. I
And
mean,
then the one of the characters, I'm not gonna well, it says in the blurb what he is. He's a dragon shifter, right? So he basically helps rescue her and they sponsor her into this academy. And I'm like, they have all this money. Why can't they give her like some loot
clothes.
to support herself? Like, I was just a little confused. So that was one. I did love how each of the male main characters in this book were all pulled towards her. And they
Mhm.
had their own special bond already. And it sounded to me that they had like this childhood friendship, that
Yes,
they respected each other. They trusted one another just because of the trials they had to go through. Their family dynamics were not healthy.
and
It felt,
and they're like kids of parents who, like, are running things, like,
yeah,
not the school necessarily, but I'm just saying
they're
and I
young
again,
adults. Let's say young
yeah,
adults.
so they're like the kids that would get away with anything in school because the parents are paying and involved.
Yes, yes. So I will say that one of the scenes that I absolutely adored and it's not even a quote. Well, it's a quote, but I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't have it written down. But it was when the dragon shifter, which his name was Flint, which I thought was very fitting. His dad's name was Glacier. I had a hard time with that name for a snow dragon. I don't know, just because it seems like it's a hard name to call somebody. Like, um, anyway, I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent, but Flint's talking to his dad and he's like asking his dad for help protecting her. And his dad says, anything, like basically he says, anything for the future snow dragon, uh,
Queen.
the future queen of the snow dragons. And I was just like, yes, like so powerful. I was like, I like to see that dynamic, like the father and son, like it was healthy, right? He really supported his son. And maybe it's going to change. Maybe the dad wants her to be the future queen dragon for like evil reasons. I don't know. I would like to think not, but it was just really cool to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then, so I'd be curious to know if the fated, okay. So they talk about the sire in their bond, right? Her bond with him.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that it's so strong and they're trying to figure out how to like sever it so they can help her and they can all be together. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, can't, if they feel like they have fated mate bonds, wouldn't
Mhm.
fated mate bonds be stronger than the sire bond? You know, like, I mean, I'm not a paranormal, fantastical creature, fated mates expert, but I would think that fated mates was more powerful than being
I
married.
would have thought so too, which is why I read that first chapter of the second book because I needed to know what's going on and it blew my mind. Just I didn't even finish the chapter.
Stop. I
I
would
know, I know, I know. We're
ugh.
gonna have to add it to that TBR list. I'm just telling you.
So,
Um,
because there's like she shares it not with one, but with three powerful young men, and I just feel like it's strong enough to actually break or manipulate the control her sire has for her. So that's just my
mhm.
thoughts. Hmm.
I am I've got a couple scenes in here. One, it says, and this was by I think this was by Kane, but it could have been Thorns, so forgive me to not remember who it was. That bond that you have with him, talking about Nathaniel, is borrowed, Violet. You are nothing more than on loan to him because the creature who truly owns you, the one that you are destined to be with, is me. He stole you from me, and I don't take too kindly to theft of what's mine.
Oh,
I
that's
will rip you from him and then stake him before dancing on his ashes for daring to even attempt to take you from me. His words are chilling, frightening in every syllable, and I shiver with fear at the intensity of his tone and possessiveness. I'm not something anyone owns, she grits out. Who said you were? I said you were mine, Violet. Mine to protect, mine to avenge, and mine to worship and ensure your safety and happiness. I love that.
that was Cain. Like you can
That was
totally tell
Kane.
that's his Cain. Cain.
I assumed it was Kane, but then I didn't want to be wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
that's heavily of Cain. Yeah, that was nice.
And then this one, which maybe it's Thorn, maybe it's Kane, you can let me know. This internal war between her mind and her body, the thought of her suffering like this, torn between her rational thoughts and these forced instincts, makes me want to slam my fist into something, preferably Nathaniel's face until it comes out the back of his head. I'm like, oh,
Aggressive.
I liked it. But see, that's okay aggression in books.
In books, it's totally fine.
Torturing it's not.
So
Um,
I
yeah.
liked those scenes. The other scene I liked was, and I wish we had more of, was when we caught a glimpse of Kane's dad, who's like the ice demon king, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm just so curious, like, what is his name? They didn't
I
even
know
say.
it, but I'm not gonna say it because it's
Oh,
not
you read it in the first paragraph?
I told in the first chapter, I didn't read the whole chapter, but I did read the first
Jen.
couple.
Oh,
paragraphs.
for shame, Jen. For shame.
I know. I
No.
couldn't help it. I was starting it before I got confirmation that we were reading something else.
So in like the 30 seconds it took me to tell you the next TBR. Okay. Um,
Correct. That
so
is correct.
the thing that I'm curious about is that she knows she's fated to all these men. However, and they feel a pull towards her.
Mhm.
But what does it look like? Like, how can they seal these bonds? Like, what is it feel like to her? You know what I mean? Like when you read
Mhm.
about fated mates, sometimes it's like you feel a pull, there's a tether, there's like a scent or something.
I
Um,
think she felt a pull, right, in
the
this book?
boys all felt a tether, right?
The tether, yeah,
And she's like, I just know we're all
drawn to
meant.
them. Mhm.
And I'm like, what does that mean? And how do they seal the bonds? And why is Thorn and Kate delaying their connection, right? Like Thorn and Violet still have yet to kiss in book one. It's
Oh
like,
gosh.
oh god, don't tell me about chapter one.
I'm not
Or
no, no, that had nothing about it. I'm just thinking it
because
through.
like if I was thinking as someone that was going to write a trilogy, right? That's not in the cards, but I'd be like, there's three guys, and then it's like in the first book, she knows that they're all together. She sleeps with one, kisses the second, and then the second book, she sleeps with two, kisses the third, and then the third book, she has all three. But maybe that's not. I'm getting eyebrows from you. I'm like,
I know, I don't know, but that's what I would want.
that's what I would like, the drawn out, like, I
It is
feel
a true trilogy. Like, the author says it. It
no.
100% I agree. It was like, if any of you are really old out there and you remembered, like, the cliffhanger from Dallas, Who Shot JR from Dallas. I'm totally aging myself, but it was a cliffhanger that we had to wait like 3 months to see that next episode,
Oh my
right?
god, Dallas.
That is how I felt.
Oh my god,
I'm
that's
like,
so
"She
funny.
what?"
So, I have a couple of questions, like, what is blood magic? It says that all
What?
vampires have it.
I did not know
I
that
would
either,
love
and I
more.
love
That's one of my questions. Of course,
Mhm.
Kane's dad is my second. Like, what's his name?
Right.
Sh
Screws.
Kane's dad also mentioned she was a vampire. Like, what's that? Was it a mage? Or is there something else?
Are we gonna guess about what we think is going on? Because you and I had totally different thoughts,
Yeah.
which is not normal for us.
And, like, is there a prophecy that Violet and these 3 men, young men, like, by her side need to fulfill? Like, it seems like Violet is the one that they've been waiting for to me. Like,
Okay, my thoughts on it. Did you have any more before I jump in? Because, like, I'm very excited about this.
you could talk about yours and I'll share mine.
Okay. I truly think that she is more powerful than any of them. I feel like she was probably placed with her parents and they're not her parents. This is my guess, right? And that they put her there to hide her from bad people. Okay.
Okay.
And I feel like, yeah, I'll leave it there.
I feel like no.
Literally, no. This is what I had on Voxer.
So
No, no.
I have a feeling that yes, I do agree that she is more powerful. I think she is a very powerful vampire that they've been waiting for. She is like the key to some prophecy that they have not shared with us yet. I have a feeling that with those three guys, because they mentioned that they can boost each other's magic. Um, I don't know
Yes.
how, but
They borrow each
I should
other's
be an
magic
expert at
to
this.
boost their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like those three guys, seeing how they're so powerful, that they are going to enhance her to do whatever task that she needs, and they're going to have to face trials together. Probably. So I told you that they're going to understand that there's going to be a prophecy in book two. I feel like there's going to be people that are attacking her, and she's going to have to learn exactly who she is, what the prophecy is. She's going to have to strengthen the bonds with the guys. And then in book three, there's going to be something like some kind of war is
Big
coming.
trial
Like
war or
somebody
something.
is coming
Mhm.
to kill her or kill or hurt that realm of some way, that because they said there's like a parallel realm. So I have a feeling like something's going to happen to that somebody like a seer foresaw. Oh my God, so many things that sounded so wrong. But the seer prophesies that there's this war coming on that realm and that she was the key and the boys were there to protect her as well as enhance her magic. So that's my thoughts.
And her eyes change color at the end of the book,
They were
and
blue, right?
I thought they were, like, red and they turned blue, right? Or something like that?
So I read again because I was confused, but they were blue
Okay.
throughout the whole thing.
Mhm.
But most, I feel like all the other vampires were red, right?
Yeah,
Help
I
me.
don't it was the way it was written was very much like breadcrumbs, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
So I had a lot of questions. Potion, her clothes, who certain people were, but I think book two is going to be where she's going to figure out what she is, learn more about it, and
Mhm.
then they're going to figure out what the prophecy is, like what they need to like be working towards.
Awesome. I can't wait to see who's right.
You're probably going to be
I mean,
right.
no, but it doesn't matter. Like we're really sort of on the same track. I just have different details than you have.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you read the first chapter of the next book.
No,
Just
none of
joking.
what I no, no, true though, but none of what I said has anything to do with the first
Now I feel like I need to read it. Okay, no.
r
So spice level, this was listed as a low spice, lower burn paranormal romance, and I agree completely. The spice in this book was around a 1 for me, and the
Mhm.
burn was slow. Yet you get lost in the plot and twist that I didn't seem to mind. Like
Yeah.
I just thought it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
really good read.
I think it was a 2.
There
I
was
think it was a
only
2. There's only 2 scenes
there was
with
only 2
anything,
scenes and
right?
they weren't that graphic.
You're
So
right, so it's probably a 1. I don't know why I made it a 2,
remember
but I always hope that book 2 and 3 gets a little steamier. That's my hope.
so. I hope so. Rating for this one, like I said, this is one of my favorite genres, dark academia, paranormal reverse harem. And this one didn't disappoint. With it being a trilogy, I expected the cliffhanger and the questions I had throughout the book not to be answered, right? I expected that. And yes, I'll be eager to dive into the next 2 books to see how Violet's story unfolds and hopefully see how much of a badass she is inside. So I feel like this is a solid 4-star for me and would recommend to someone looking for that particular genre. But it's not one that I'm gonna be. I wasn't like Jen craving book two. I was just like, okay. It
Um,
was good. I liked it. Solid 4.
I would say it's a 4 or 5, and I wanna see over distance of time. Like, I already referred it to my daughter, so it's like a full referral, so it's a full 4, and
I liked
I think
her.
it would be a 5 if there was more
More
spice
spice.
to it. So, I'm gonna say it's a 4, but I'm eager, way more eager than you. I'm very, very eager to read that next book, and if you get behind in reading it all, I'll probably no, I won't read
Stop.
it. We're gonna read it
Stop. No.
together. I got it. We're gonna read it together. Our plan, by the way, you guys, is to read that next book this month that we're in toward the end-ish,
Mhm.
and in December to read the 3rd one,
When it
correct?
comes out, December
Yeah.
31st.
Yeah, but we wanted to come out with this first one because if this is a type of book that you'll love, we wanna make sure that you know about it and you can go get it, and 2 is out. So, if you wanna keep going.
2 is out, but if you can wait
Yes,
and make it last longer.
and read it with us, right?
Yes, exactly. And the thing is like if you read book 2 now, you would have to wait 2 months, Jen.
I know, that's
See?
horrid.
We're being nice.
I know.
I'm thinking of
All
you.
right. Thanks for tuning in, babes. If you loved hanging out with us today, don't forget to check the show notes for all of the juicy details and the links. You can also join our chat for exclusive updates and behind the scenes goodies.
And of course, follow us for more spicy reads, hot takes, and unfiltered fun. Until next time, stay Marley Gray.
Bye.
Bye.